So guys, today let's go through basics of Voiceflow functions. So basically Voiceflow functions enable you to run specific code to run specific functionality when certain things happen in your chatbot. So for example, when a user says this specific thing, it means they want to make a payment. So call this payment function, or if they click this specific button, run this specific function that runs a specific functionality. So for that, you need first to go back here, go to your functions tab, okay, then create a function. So I'll call mine test a function, then create function. So here's how basically the function looks like. Okay, you have some code that you can run beforehand, then you return some traces. So basically what a trace is when, let's say, the chatbot prints out a message like, here are the following items we have. That sentence is a trace of type text. If it prints out some buttons, those buttons are a trace of type choice. If it prints out some carousel, that's a trace of type carousel. Okay, so for now let's work with buttons. So first of all, I'm not running any code. This is a basic tutorial. So then we return a trace of type choice. Okay, then the payload of the trace will have some buttons. Okay, and buttons is an array. Okay, an array of buttons. Each button has a name. Let's call the first button button A. Okay, then a request. So this is what will be returned to the Voiceflow runtime when the user clicks on that specific button. So the request has the request and the type of request. Let's call this event A. Event A. Then it can have a payload. Okay, so let's give it a payload of something. So let's say this payload has choice. I can actually type choice A. Okay, so let's create some more buttons that will be sent back to the user. So copy that, make sure you copy the right object, then paste it in there. So the next button will be button B, the type of event will be event B, and the choice will be choice B. Okay, so now let's first run this. We see what will be returned to the user. So let me go back to my workflows, function calling, then here I'll go to the dev, then drag out a function block. I'll select a function, test a function, then run it. Okay, you see it prints out button A and button B. If I click button A, it will send back that specific event with the type of event A. Okay, so but now since the path isn't connected, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so we go back to my functions, and now we want it to do something when the user clicks on a specific button. So when it returns, the function returns a trace, okay, but also some actions to do once a specific trace is clicked. So for that, let's just go here, add a next menu property. So the next menu property takes some 3 inputs. Okay, so the first one is listen to true. So set the listen flag to true. Then it takes a 2, which defines like when this specific action happens or this specific event is called, do the following. Okay, so and the final one is, if not a specific button is clicked, have a default 2. So this is when none of the events that are in the function have been called follow this specific path. Okay, so for the first 2, a condition object has the following objects. So the first one is on. So this defines when this happens, then do something, follow a specific path, and that specific path is in the dest property. And this will make sense just a bit. So let's first create some paths. Okay, so come here to complete right. Let's add some paths. So path A, path B, and path C when no button is clicked. Okay, so in the on over here, we want it to have an object. The object will check this specific event dot type. If the event dot type is event A, then follow path A. Okay, so you're seeing there, and this event dot type ensure it's in a string, and it will check this specific event that's sent back when a specific button is clicked. It will check the event type. If the event type is event B, then it will follow path B. So let's create for that one. I'll just type it in. So the next one is on when the event dot type is event B, then follow this specific path B. Okay, then if none of the buttons are clicked, so they actually, let's say, typed something into the chart, so follow this path C. So that's, you'll input that in the default too. So with that being said, let's just go back to our workflow. Function calling. So you see the paths are there. Then we want it to do something. Let's say print out something. So let's say you followed, you picked A. Then let's copy that. For the next, so if you picked B and you picked none, so we go with C. Okay, now let's connect the paths. Then run your function. So let's see. So click button A. You picked A. Try again. Button B. You picked B. Let's try again. So let's say they type something in the chart. You picked none, so we go with C. Okay. So you're seeing how the function calling works. So now let's say we want to access whatever is in the payload. Okay. Because you remember, if you go back to the functions, let's go to the functions here. Just a function. You see in the payload, we pass in a payload of choice, then you put the value of the specific choice. So the payload can be anything. So you can even have something like skew here, in the specific skew, let's say skew 1 or something. Diameter, you'll have these values based on the code you've run over here. So for now, this is a basic tutorial. So let's go back, show you how we able to access that specific payload. So function calling here. So for that, let me delete this. Then I want to run a JavaScript step beforehand to access the specific payload. So for that, pick a JavaScript. Then we want to create a variable to store the specific payload that's obtained when the user clicks a specific button. So for that, let's go back here to the variables tab and new variable. So let me call this variable function choice. Go back to my workflow. So function choice is equals to the last event. So this is a default variable that's available in Voiceflow that will check the last event that's just been run, which is this function. Then we access the specific event. So last event dot payload dot choice. Okay. So that will save in that specific choice. Then we can be able to, let's just duplicate this for the next one with the clicked button B. So if in any case we want to have a text message of picked function choice, let's just copy that, paste that there for the second the picked button B. So in any case, if it's a success or a failure, let's just push it on to that. Then if they don't actually click on a specific button, we just want to print out a message, none. So we go with C. Okay. With that being said, let's just run the function now. So let's say they pick button A. You picked choice A. Let's say they pick button B. You picked choice B. Okay. Let's try again. Let's say they type something into the chart. It will follow the part C. You picked none, so we go with C. And yeah, that's it. So that's the basics of voice flow functions. And hope you can be able to obtain this knowledge and be able to create something more profound. This was just the basics, so you can understand the actual functionality that goes behind running such functions. Till next time, stay servy. Peace.